Hello and how's it going, everyone? It is Skullsy here, and today I want to talk about The Elder Scrolls 6 because I believe The Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be a reboot of the single-player Elder Scrolls franchise, at least as far as Bethesda is concerned, and we're going to go over why I believe this, go over some of the evidence that backs up my statement, and go over what exactly this means in terms of a reboot, and then maybe we're going to touch on what a reboot even means as well, because different people have different definitions of what a reboot actually is. But today we're going to be talking about The Elder Scrolls 6, and as far as I'm concerned, this is more or less confirmed information, just even based upon actual statements from Bethesda and Todd Howard concerning specifically The Elder Scrolls 6. But let's not waste any more time, and let's break all this down. Like I said, I believe The Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be considered a reboot of the single-player Elder Scrolls franchise. And when I say reboot, I don't mean that they're gonna scrap everything that's happened already in the previous games and start all over with an entire new, lore timeline. I mean that the way the game feels and plays in some ways are going to be different than the last game, and before you say it, that's normally how sequels work, especially when you jump from one gaming generation to another. That's generally what happens. Some stuff is improved, it looks better, it plays a little bit different. That shouldn't be anything new, right? And the thing is, yes, to a certain extent, that is correct. However, Todd Howard and Bethesda have referred to previous games as reboots in the past, such as Skyrim. Todd Howard actually said himself that Skyrim was a reboot of the Elder Scrolls franchise, and they're actually waiting until the Elder Scrolls 6 to do that reboot. Skyrim was going to be a lot more similar to Oblivion in many ways. However, they considered Skyrim to be a reboot of the franchise because they changed the way that the tone of the game was, in a sense. They changed how some of the systems worked in the game a little bit, and overall the graphics were improved. But is that really a reboot? I mean, technically, according to Todd Howard, yes, it was indeed a reboot in terms of his own statement. However, what do people mean when they hear reboot? What is a reboot in general to the gaming audience? That's something I figured I'd want to talk about today, or at least give you my opinion on, because it doesn't seem to have a set standard, at least, in terms of what it means. Different developers do reboots, and the reboots have different caliber of changes to their previous games, so it kind of just left up to the developer as to what they want to consider a reboot or not. As far as I'm concerned, I think the jump from GTA 3 to GTA 4, for example, was a reboot of the Grand Theft Auto franchise, because obviously the graphics and the animations and the physics were improved. That should be a given though, right? From one big leap to another, especially in terms of gaming generations. However, the whole tone of the game changed as well. Even the way the driving felt and the shooting, everything felt a lot more heavy, a lot more realistic, and the overall tone of the game changed as well. But if you look at GTA 4, the GTA 5, is that a reboot? I would say less so, because GTA 5 still builds further upon a lot of the elements that Grand Theft Auto 4 changed from GTA 3 to GTA 4. Grand Theft Auto 5 kind of refines the driving that GTA 4 set into place, makes it a lot less slippery, I guess, if you will, but the shooting and the weight and everything was kind of the same, and we saw a lot of that in Red Dead Redemption 2 as well. That game felt like it was similar to Grand Theft Auto 5 in a sense, and obviously there was no cars and stuff, but I mean, that should also be a given because it's made by the same developer on the same engine assets that are improved. So at what point does a reboot become a reboot? Because obviously if a game developer is going to reboot a previous game, they're going to probably be doing it on a much more advanced engine, but I'll bet the same engine that the previous version of the game was made on. However, Grand Theft Auto 4 had a much larger engine, I guess, gap or leap, if you will, over Grand Theft Auto 3. However, in GTA 4's and GTA 5 and even Red Dead Redemption 2's engine code, believe it or not, there is code from the GTA 3 engine. And in terms of Skyrim, there was code in that engine, obviously, from the Oblivion engine. Skyrim and Oblivion didn't seem too far apart. Obviously, there's a big generation jump, and you can tell the improvements and the difference, but when you look at GTA 3 to GTA 4, it's not that big of a jump like it is from Oblivion to Skyrim. However, Bethesda still considers that a reboot, so in terms of just how the overall gaming industry works, we should consider Skyrim a reboot as well, even though most people people may not consider it a complete reboot of the Elder Scrolls series. I feel like I'm saying reboot so many times in this video that I'm just gonna lose my mind. But with all that considered, my point is, the Elder Scrolls 6 is coming out a long time after Skyrim, and Todd Howard did actually make a direct statement in regards to the Elder Scrolls 6 that I believe more or less confirms it will be a reboot, because if you look at what he said was a reboot before, meaning Skyrim over Oblivion, the jump from the Elder Scrolls 6 to Skyrim is going to be a lot grander in terms of technology, graphics, just overall everything, because it's been so long since Skyrim came out, and now we have a whole nother generation of gaming that will be out for a long time before the Elder Scrolls 6 happens, because Starfield is going to come out before TES 6, so the Elder Scrolls 6 may very well come out towards the end of the Xbox Series X and the PS5's generation life cycle, meaning it'll be like almost a double reboot, if you will. And like I said, Todd Howard did make a direct statement regarding the Elder Scrolls 6 and even Starfield in a way, saying that the engine jump from those games over Fallout 4 is larger than even the engine jump from Morrowind to Oblivion, and that is huge, because here we are with reboot again. Oblivion over Morrowind definitely should be considered a reboot, because those two games are so night and day, even in terms of the technology, and I believe that that same exact situation we saw from Morrowind to Oblivion will be repeated by the jump from Skyrim to the Elder Scrolls 6, and even Fallout 4 to the Elder Scrolls 6, and in a much lesser way, but still a noteworthy way, Starfield to the Elder Scrolls 6, because I believe that this is the biggest gap in time between sequels from Bethesda Game Studios ever. And like I said, Todd Howard considered Skyrim a reboot of Oblivion, so I mean, what does that make the Elder Scrolls 6? Obviously, in terms of just previous statements from Bethesda and just a general overall industry standard, it's definitely going to be a reboot. But don't worry, it doesn't mean that all the previous lore and everything that happened in Skyrim and all that stuff are going to be scrapped. When some people hear reboot, they think that like the whole entire thing is going to restart from the ground up. Like the lore will still be the same, but it's going to start from year zero, if you will, and the previous stories are going to be considered a separate timeline. That's what some people consider a reboot, because when you get into like DC and Marvel universes or other things, reboots generally mean that exact thing. So that's why I wanted to do a video on this today, because in the gaming industry, reboot doesn't always mean a substantial reset of the timeline and the lore and a separation from the previous games. Reboot just means a basically huge upgrade from the previous one, and some changes in how the game systems will work as well. But even though the systems will change a bit from the Elder Scrolls 6 to Skyrim, it's still going to feel like a Bethesda Game Studios game. It's still going to feel like an Elder Scrolls game, and the changes won't be so substantial that it'll be a completely different game, or at least feel like it. Magic and combat will still feel like an Elder Scrolls game, only more modernized, I hope, and there'll be new twists and added like features and stuff on top of that, and probably still the old-fashioned Bethesda Game Studios bugs, because when you get massive games like this, no matter how much you refine the game, it's gonna have its issues. And that's basically everything I wanted to talk about in today's video. I just wanted to show you what I think a reboot means, what the gaming industry standard is for a reboot, kind of alleviate any concerns over what you might think when you hear the Elder Scrolls 6 could be a reboot of the franchise, and then again show you some actual evidence and my opinion on why I believe that as far as Bethesda is concerned, the Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be not only a reboot of the Elder Scrolls franchise, but probably the biggest one to date. But either way, that's going to be everything I wanted to talk about in today's video. If you enjoyed the content, be sure to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn notifications on. And if you want to help grow the channel and the community, be sure to share the content, share the video, share the channel, get people to subscribe, because the YouTube algorithm really only helps push content from channels that are over 100,000 subscribers, and my channel is nowhere near that. We grow kind of slowly here in Skullsy Town. However, since I've been asking you all to share the content, the channel has been growing a lot faster. So keep doing what you're doing, thank you, it is highly appreciated. And speaking of appreciation, huge shout out to these amazing people for going above and beyond to bring you future content like this and support the channel. And if you want to get your name added to this list and get a permanent future video shout out from this point forward, you can support the channel over on Ko-fi, Patreon, or here on YouTube as an exclusive channel member. I am updating this list with people who have supported the channel recently, so now is your last chance to get your name added to the next list before I update it again here in a couple weeks. Like I said, links are all down in the description below, and as always, thank you for watching. Be sure to tune in next time, when the Elder Scrolls 6 is just a reboot of Skyrim, because they changed the color of the dragons to blue. That's it. That's the only thing that changed.
just works.